Morning.
Hi, good morning, how are you?
I am good, and you?
I am doing okay.
Awesome.
I'm here to copyright a trademark for my patent.
You want to copyright a trademark for your patent?
Yes.
Alright, tell me exactly what it is that you want to do.
I have a logo and I want to get it registered.
Okay, so that's a copyright, no patent. That's actually a trademark. So logos are trademark.
Oh, so you're telling me that all I need is just a trademark?
Yes, that's all you need.
You know, it's a little confusing. I would hope that you guys would have some form of workshop or webinar or something.
Yes,
just to inform us of what is happening.
It is, and I'm happy that you said that because we will be having our IP week this week, our annual IP week, starting the 23rd of April until the 2nd of May. We will be on all the social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, I believe Twitter as well. So you can just go over there and just follow us, and you can always see the live events that are going to be on.
And what's the date again?
The 23rd of April until the 2nd of May.
Oh, thank you. I will surely be there.
You are most welcome. Please do go ahead and follow us, alright?
Okay, I will.
Alright, let me just see your documents, please. Alright, you just have a seat over there and I'll get someone to assist you.
Okay.
Morning.
Hi, good morning, how are you?
I am good, and you?
I am doing okay.
Awesome.
I'm here to copyright a trademark for my patent.
You want to copyright a trademark for your patent?
Yes.
Alright, tell me exactly what it is that you want to do.
I have a logo and I want to get it registered.
Okay, so that's a copyright, no patent. That's actually a trademark. So logos are trademark.
Oh, so you're telling me that all I need is just a trademark?
Yes, that's all you need.
You know, it's a little confusing. I would hope that you guys would have some form of workshop or webinar or something.
Yes,
just to inform us of what is happening.
It is, and I'm happy that you said that because we will be having our IP week this week, our annual IP week, starting the 23rd of April until the 2nd of May. We will be on all the social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, I believe Twitter as well. So you can just go over there and just follow us, and you can always see the live events that are going to be on.
And what's the date again?
The 23rd of April until the 2nd of May.
Oh, thank you. I will surely be there.
You are most welcome. Please do go ahead and follow us, alright?
Okay, I will.
Alright, let me just see your documents, please. Alright, you just have a seat over there and I'll get someone to assist you.
Okay.
Morning.
Hi, good morning, how are you?
I am good, and you?
I am doing okay.
Awesome.
I'm here to copyright a trademark for my patent.
You want to copyright a trademark for your patent?
Yes.
Alright, tell me exactly what it is that you want to do.
I have a logo and I want to get it registered.
Okay, so that's a copyright, no patent. That's actually a trademark. So logos are trademark.
Oh, so you're telling me that all I need is just a trademark?
Yes, that's all you need.
You know, it's a little confusing. I would hope that you guys would have some form of workshop or webinar or something.
Yes,
just to inform us of what is happening.
It is, and I'm happy that you said that because we will be having our IP week this week, our annual IP week, starting the 23rd of April until the 2nd of May. We will be on all the social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, I believe Twitter as well. So you can just go over there and just follow us, and you can always see the live events that are going to be on.
And what's the date again?
The 23rd of April until the 2nd of May.
Oh, thank you. I will surely be there.
You are most welcome. Please do go ahead and follow us, alright?
Okay, I will.
Alright, let me just see your documents, please. Alright, Alright, just have a seat over there and I'll get someone to assist.
Okay.
Morning.
Hi, good morning, how are you?
I am good, and you?
I am doing okay.
Awesome.
I'm here to copyright a trademark for my patent.
You want to copyright a trademark for your patent?
Yes.
Alright, tell me exactly what it is that you want to do.
I have a logo and I want to get it registered.
Okay, so that's a copyright, no patent. That's actually a trademark. So
Oh.
logos are trademark.
Oh, so you're telling me that all I need is just a trademark?
Yes, that's all you need.
You know, it's a little confusing. I would hope that you guys would have some form of workshop or webinar or something.
Yes,
Just
it
to
is.
inform us of what is happening.
It is, and I'm happy that you said that because we will be having our IP week this week, our annual IP week,
Okay.
starting the 23rd of April until the 2nd of May.
Mm-hmm.
We will be on all the social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, I believe Twitter as well.
Oh,
So you
okay.
can just go over there and just follow us and you can always see the live events that are going to be on.
And what's the date again?
The 23rd of April until the 2nd of May.
Oh, thank you. I will surely be
You
there.
are most welcome. Please do go ahead and follow us, alright?
Okay, I
Alright, let
will.
me just see your documents, please. Alright, you just have a seat over there and I'll get someone to assist.
Okay.
Morning.
Hi, good morning, how are you?
I am good, and you?
I am doing okay.
Awesome.
I'm here to copyright a trademark for my patent.
You want to copyright a trademark for your patent?
Yes.
Alright, tell me exactly what it is that you want to do.
I have a logo and I want to get it registered.
Okay, so that's a copyright, no patent. That's actually a trademark. So
Oh.
logos are trademark.
Oh, so you're telling me that all I need is just a trademark?
Yes, that's all you need.
You know, it's a little confusing. I would hope that you guys would have some form of workshop or webinar or something.
Yes,
Just
it
to
is.
inform us of what is happening.
It is, and I'm happy that you said that because we will be having our IP week this week, our annual IP week,
Okay.
starting the 23rd of April until the 2nd of May.
Mm-hmm.
We will be on all the social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, I believe Twitter as well.
Oh,
So you
okay.
can just go over there and just follow us and you can always see the live events that are going to be on.
And what's the date again?
The 23rd of April until the 2nd of May.
Oh, thank you. I will surely be
You
there.
are most welcome. Please do go ahead and follow us, alright?
Okay, I
Alright, let
will.
me just see your documents, please. Alright, you just have a seat over there and I'll get someone to assist.
Okay.
Morning.
Hi, good morning, how are you?
I am good, and you?
I am doing okay.
Awesome.
I'm here to copyright a trademark for my patent.
You want to copyright a trademark for your patent?
Yes.
Alright, tell me exactly what it is that you want to do.
I have a logo and I want to get it registered.
Okay, so that's a copyright, no patent. That's actually a trademark. So
Oh.
logos are trademark.
Oh, so you're telling me that all I need is just a trademark?
Yes, that's all you need.
You know, it's a little confusing. I would hope that you guys would have some form of workshop or webinar or something.
Yes,
Just
it
to
is.
inform us of what is happening.
It is, and I'm happy that you said that because we will be having our IP week this week, our annual IP week,
Okay.
starting the 23rd of April until the 2nd of May.
Mm-hmm.
We will be on all the social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, I believe Twitter as well.
Oh,
So you
okay.
can just go over there and just follow us and you can always see the live events that are going to be on.
And what's the date again?
The 23rd of April until the 2nd of May.
Oh, thank you. I will surely be
You
there.
are most welcome. Please do go ahead and follow us, alright?
Okay, I
Alright, let
will.
me just see your documents, please. Alright, you just have a seat over there and I'll get someone to assist.
Okay. copyright a trademark for my patent?
You want to copyright a trademark for your patent?
Yes.
All right, tell me exactly what it is that you want to do.
I have a logo and I want to get it registered.
Okay, so that's a copyright, not patent. That's actually a trademark. So logos are trademark.
Oh, so you're telling me that all I need is just a trademark?
Yes, that's all you need.
You know, it's a little confusing. I would hope that you guys will have some form of workshop or webinar or something.
Yes,
just to inform us of what is happening.
It is, and I'm happy that you said that because we will be having our IP week this week, our annual IP week, starting the 23rd of April until the 2nd of May. We will be on all the social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, I believe Twitter as well. So you can just go over there and just follow us and you can always see the live events that are going to be happening.
And what's the date again?
The 23rd of April until the 2nd of May.
Oh, thank you. I will surely be there.
You are most welcome. Please do go ahead and follow us, alright?
Okay, I will.
Alright, let me just see your documents, please. Alright, you can just have a seat over there and I'll get someone to assist you. Morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I am good, and you?
I am doing okay.
Awesome.
I'm here to copyright a trademark for my patent.
You want to copyright a trademark for your patent?
Yes.
Alright, tell me exactly what it is that you want to do.
I have a logo and I want to get it registered.
Okay, so that's a copyright, not patent. That's actually a trademark. So logos are trademark.
Oh, so you're telling me that all I need is just a trademark?
Yes, that's all you need.
You know, it's a little confusing. I would hope that you guys will have some form of workshop or webinar or something.
Yes,
just to inform us of what is happening.
It is, and I'm happy that you said that because we will be having our IP week this week, our annual IP week, starting the 23rd of April until the 2nd of May. We will be on all the social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our fourth event in our IP Week Celebration 2021. We continue under the theme IP and MSMEs, taking your ideas to market. I am Chantal English, Copyright and Related Rights Manager here at the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office. Now, today's discussion is on industrial design. We will be looking at the Hague System. Imagine a system where you can file only one application and receive registration in multiple countries. So today we have a distinguished panelist. We have Ms. Adrian Thompson, who is Trademark Designs and Geographical Indications Manager here at JIPO. We have Ms. Jess Honkulada, who is the head of the Hague Development System. And we have Ms. K. King from the Belize Intellectual Property Office, the LIPO. So we're in for our interesting discussion this morning. So thank you so much for joining us. And we ask that you do stay with us for the entire discussion. It promises to be very fruitful. And so without any further ado, we'll go into our presentation, and we'll start this morning with Ms. Adrian Thompson. Ms. Thompson is the Trademarks, Design, and Geographical Indications Manager here at Wipo. Ms. Thompson is an attorney at law with over 14 years of professional experience gained in the fields of intellectual property law and medicinal chemistry research. She was admitted to the Jamaican bar in 2013, recognized the practice before the United States Patent and Trademark Office in 2009, and licensed to practice law in Missouri, USA in 2008. She holds a Juris Doctorate from the Tulane University of Law, Louisiana, and a Bachelor's of Arts in Biochemistry from Vassar College in New York. At this time, it's an honor to present Ms. Adrian Thompson. Over to you, Ms. Thompson.
Thanks, Ms. English. Good morning, everybody. I thank you for joining us for this Designs Day webinar. Let me just share my presentation. Are you seeing the screen?
Yes, we are seeing the screen.
Okay, let me start the slideshow. Okay, so what I am going to speak about briefly today is just how we protect designs, industrial designs in Jamaica. So a brief overview of what an industrial design is, in addition to what we do currently, and then introduce the new design law that should come into effect by the end of the year. And so some of the changes that we'll be looking out for once that happens. So just briefly, Wipo is the statutory body established in 2001 that is responsible for administering IP laws in Jamaica. And we're an agency of the Ministry of Industry, Investment, and Commerce. And part of Wipo's mandate is public education, but we also deal with the registration of various intellectual property rights, including trademarks, patents, GIs. We have a voluntary copyright registry, and we also register designs. So today we're focusing on designs, but throughout the rest of IP Week, we'll touch on the different areas of IP. And so again, we're focusing on designs today, and designs fall under the subcategory of industrial property under the heading of intellectual property rights. And just briefly, intellectual property rights are legal rights that protect creations of the mind. Okay, so what is an industrial design? Basically, an industrial design is the ornamental or aesthetic aspect of an article. So what is the thing that draws your eye to this article? It's probably protectable via an industrial design. What constitutes an industrial design under the current law? It's pretty much anything. So it can be a three-dimensional feature, it can be a pattern, the shape of the object itself, or something on the object, so a specific pattern or coloring. All of these things can qualify as industrial designs. So industrial designs are useful in that they apply to a variety of articles across several industries. And so, for example, textiles, jewelry, we get a lot of those applications, but we also get shoes applications here at Wipo. Packaging is also very common, but then you'll have the occasional architectural designs. Get designs for a building that people want to protect. So we get a wide variety of applications here at Wipo. And under the 1937 Design Act, the design can be applicable by whatever means. So whether or not you want to embroider the design onto the article or paint it, it really doesn't matter. The law is wide enough to encompass any application method. So this slide just shows some examples of industrial designs. So like I said, it covers a wide variety of industries. So on this slide, we have shoes. furniture, a lamp, but we also have chocolates. And that's a famous example of industrial design being used to protect the shape of the Toblerone chocolate bar. So again, the reason why you want to protect your industrial design is because the design can contribute to the commercial viability of your product, because it's what draws the consumer's eye to the article. And so it increases the marketability of your product. And so a good example would be in the lower left-hand portion of the slide, have the Coca-Cola bottle, which is a famous industrial design. Okay. So how do you register a design here at Wipo? Basically, you fill out a form. It's called a design 2, and you pay a fee of $1,500. And then in your application, you have to tell us what is the nature of the design, what essentially is new about it, because that's one of the requirements for protection. And then you have to give us different representations of the design. So usually people give us 3 views from different angles, so we can get an appreciation of what the design is. And then you tell us what goods the design is supposed to be applied to, so the class of goods. So once you submit the application and you pay the fee, then what Wipo does is we'll perform a search of the design register to see if there are other designs on the register that are similar to what you're applying for. And then we will either accept the design or refuse it based on a lack of local novelty or originality. And also we'll examine the design to see whether or not it's scandalous and would be barred from registration. So the conditions for acceptance, like I said, it has to be novel. So under the 1937 Act, the standard is not known or used in Jamaica before, so it's local novelty. It has to be original, so it can't really be a copy of something that already exists, and it shouldn't be scandalous. So assuming that it passes muster, then you will be granted a registered design, and the term of protection for that registration is 15 years. Some of the benefits of registering your design is that it allows you, as the registered proprietor, to be the only person that can exploit your design. And so if people use or copy your design without your permission, then you can bring an infringement action. Another thing to note about industrial designs, like other industrial property rights, is that it is territorial. And so registration of your design in Jamaica only grants you protection within the boundaries of Jamaica. So that is the current state of things. But like I said before, we're introducing the new design law, and it should come into effect by the end of this year. And so the new design law is going to be under the Patents and Designs Act, and it's essentially repealing and replacing the 1937 Design Act. And basically, one of the effects of the new legislation is that it's modernizing our design system here in Jamaica. And it's introducing a lot of concepts that the old law just doesn't cover. So for example, it's going to introduce a new classification system, the Locarno classification system, but also it has provisions that will allow Jamaica to accede or join the Hague System. And so Jess is going to talk about the Hague System later on today, but what the Hague System does is it allows for the international registration of designs. And so we're really excited about the ability that local designers will have an easier time if they want to protect their designs worldwide. Okay, so some of the changes of the law, it basically updates the definition of design. So I have them both on the slide. The old definition basically lists, all these various ways that you can apply the design. Basically, the new law just updates the language of the definition, and it still pretty much covers the same thing. So as long as the design is giving a special appearance to a product of industry or handicraft, basically it's protectable. So the design registration criteria has also been modified in the new law. And so in addition to novelty, the design will now have to have individual character. And instead of using the language of scandalous like the old law, it introduces more modern language where the design should not be contrary to public order or morality. So under the new novelty requirements, whereas under the old law, the design was examined for local novelty. So we would just look to see whether or not the design was new in Jamaica. Under the new law, basically the standard is the design should not have been made available to the public anywhere or at any time. And so the new law introduces a worldwide novelty standard. And so the design basically has to be new, not only to Jamaica, but there shouldn't be a version of it existing somewhere else in the world. So we're going to look for that. Under the new law, in terms of the novelty requirements, there are some exceptions. So if there is disclosure of the design within 12 months before you submit your application, and that disclosure is due to some unlawful act. So if somebody breaches your confidence and then puts your design out in the public domain, basically from the moment that disclosure happens, you have 12 months from that disclosure to file your design application. So there's a 12-month grace period. There's also the grace period applicable if the design is displayed at local, regional, or international exhibitions. So basically, once you're ready for the design to be out in the public domain, just know that once you put it out there and you're at some kind of trade show or exhibition, then the clock starts ticking and you need to get your application in within 12 months of whenever you exhibit it to the public. Okay, so again, the new law introduces the concept of individual character. And basically this is similar to originality, the originality requirement. So individual character basically means if the overall impression that the design produces on the informed user differs from the overall impression produced by any earlier design already made available to the public. So basically your design shouldn't be a substantial copy of something that already exists. Like people who are familiar with whatever the design is should be able to notice some kind of difference between what's already on the market. Okay, and then finally, in terms of what we'll look for, the not contrary to public order or morality. So basically, this applies to designs that could promote crime, violence, if the design is sexually explicit, or if it could be offensive to a section of the public, then it might not pass muster for registration. Okay, so in addition to those three standards, the new law lists a whole slew of provisions that could potentially bar your application from registration. And so if your design application contains the national flag or coat of arms, for example, you will get a refusal from the office, and you will then have to show that you have consent from the government of Jamaica to use the national emblem or symbol. Similarly, if your design contains a country name, so for example, if your design contains the name Jamaica or something that is synonymous with Jamaica, then you'll need to show that you have some kind of connection to Jamaica. So your design might be refused to that. Basically, the reasoning behind the provision is that the design is not supposed to be misleading. And so if you have no legitimate connection to Jamaica, then we wouldn't want the public to be misled by your design. Similarly, if your design contains the name of international organizations, for example, the Olympic Association, then you need to show that you have the permission of the international organization. Similarly, if your design contains basically anybody else's intellectual property, so whether it be a copyright, a registered or unregistered trademark, or an individual's image or likeness, you could potentially be refused under the new law unless you can show that you have consent from the owner of the intellectual property to use their work. So if you are going to be using some celebrity's image in your design, then the office will ask you to show that you have consent and authorization from the celebrity. Another bar potentially is that if your design contains the traditional knowledge or traditional cultural expression of a protected community, then your design could be barred. So this is most often seen in the context of the Maroon and Rastafari community. So if your design contains language or imagery that is most often associated with those communities, then basically you need to show that you have consent from an authorized representative from that community to use essentially their intellectual property. So this is just an example of what I'm talking about in terms of the TK and TCE refusal, and this would also encompass the image and likeness refusal potentially, and the country name refusal. So in this design, it contains TK in the form of the words IRE, which is basically derived from the Rastafari community. And then it also has images of people. And so if the office looks at this design and they think that you have to show that you have permission to use the likeness of these people, you'd have to show that you have permission to use the TCE of the Rastafari community, and you'd also have to show that you have some connection to Jamaica in order to use the country name in your design. Similarly, this design would most likely be refused. Not only does it contain the country name, but this particular representation of Jamaica is pretty much identical to a protected trademark that is used by the Jamaica Tourist Board to promote Jamaica. So the I Love Jamaica trademark is fairly popular in Jamaica. And so you need to show that you have consent from the Tourist Board to use this representation in your design. So those are just some examples of things to pay attention to under the new law. Another thing to note under the new law is that design protection won't be applicable to anything that is functional. So if your design is purely functional or technical, then the industrial design form of intellectual property protection is not the right medium. What you need to be looking at is looking to obtain patent protection. And so tomorrow there is another webinar that covers patent protection. So if you think that you have an invention or something that has a functional technical function, that's the area that you should be pursuing protection in. The new law also allows for priority claims. So this is something that exists in the trademark regime, but it doesn't exist under the 1937 Design Act. And so basically what this means is if you have protected your design in another Paris Convention country and you want to seek protection in Jamaica, then once you file the application within 12 months after filing the first application overseas, you can claim the priority date or the date of the earlier application. Like I said before, we're introducing a new classification system in the new law. So the Locarno classification system is the system that we'll be using, and it's an international standard that we're going to be introducing under the new legislation. So under the old law, there are only 12 classes, whereas under Locarno, it has 32 classes. So you can be more specific in terms of what you put in the application. Then how the office categorizes your design. We'll be using international standards. And so what that means is it will assist the office in performing searches, because remember, the new standard is worldwide novelty. And so it helps to use an international standard, because then we can basically search your design across, borders. So the classification system helps with that. So under the 1937 Act, like I said before, the term of protection is 15 years. So under the new law, you can still get the 15 years, but how it works is registration will offer you protection for 5 years, and then you'll have the option to renew for 5 years 2 more times. And so it kind of breaks up the 15 years. So if after 5 years, you're really not using the design and you've moved on to something bigger and better, then there's really no need to renew the registration. The new law also introduces new concepts like deferred publication, and then it introduces things like opposition proceedings in the design regime. So basically the applications will be published, and then the public will have an opportunity to oppose the registration of design. They'll have a 2-month window. So again, under the new law, the design protection will give you the exclusive rights to exploit your design. And so if anybody is basically reproducing, importing your design, offering your design for sale without your permission, or selling products that have your design affixed to them, then all of those are grounds for bringing an infringement action under the new law. Another concept that is introduced in the new law, which doesn't exist under the 1937 Act, is the Act actually speaks to employer-employee rights. And so under the new law, if somebody commissions a design, then the owner of design is the person who commissioned the work. If a design is created in the course of employment, then that design belongs to the employer, not the employee. So the Act basically is pretty explicit about who owns a design under various scenarios, whereas the old law is silent on that. And the new law also recognizes that employees could have rights to compensation in coming up with the design. And so finally, the new law also introduces new design fees. And so under the new regime, the design registration fee will be payable in 2 stages. So when you submit your application, you'll pay $7,500, assuming that your application is in 1 class. For each additional class, it's an additional $2,200. And so you pay those fees when you submit the application. And then once we examine the design application, if we accept it, then the design will proceed to publication and potentially registration, assuming that nobody opposes the design. And so we'll send you a notice that we accept the design, and then you'll come and pay $3,500 and essentially for publication, and another $3,500 for registration. So you pay essentially $7,000 at the back end of the application process. And that is basically the design registration procedure in Jamaica in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Ms. Thompson. A very comprehensive presentation. If it is that you have any questions for Ms. Thompson, I'm going to ask you to kindly just write them down, save them, put this in the chat so we can address them later. But thank you so much, Ms. Thompson. Very comprehensive. So we encourage persons to register at Wipo, right? 1,500 currently. So make use of the opportunity. At this time, we will have coming to us Ms. Jess Honkulada. She is happy to be living through the most creative period of human history, where innovation drives solution to multiple and complex challenges. It is therefore no surprise that she finds professional fulfillment in working at the World Intellectual Property Organization, Wipo, the global forum for IP services, policy, information, and cooperation. As a lawyer with over 20 years experience, Jess has worked in the private and public sectors and in the national and international scene. In her current role as head of the Hague Development and Promotion sector of the Hague Registry, Jess is responsible for outreach, promotion, and effective information dissemination relating to the Hague System for the international registration of industrial designs, ensuring its continued geographic expansion and business development. At this time, I'd like to turn over to Ms. Jess Hunkelada. Good morning, good to have you. Good afternoon.
Hello, hi, thanks very much, Chantal, for the introduction. I am trying to share my screen and let me just see how I can best do this. Please bear with me. And so here you have that. I think you see the entire screen, right?
Yes, we're seeing the entire screen.
Okay, that's
Go
great.
ahead.
Wonderful. Yeah. So as Chantal had mentioned, a very good morning to everyone in Jamaica. It is now, in fact, 5 p.m. in the afternoon here in Geneva. But whatever the time zone, I am very pleased to be joining you on your World IP Day activity. My name is Jess Hunkelada. I am from the World Intellectual Property Organization in Wipo here in Geneva. In the next 20 minutes or so, I will be speaking to you about protecting your designs internationally through the Hague System. I was very pleased to hear the presentation of Adrian, which is a very good preceding presentation, and I segue now into the Hague System. We are very much eagerly awaiting at WIPO the accession of Jamaica to the Geneva Act of 1999, which is the latest expression of the Hague Agreement. And that accession will result in Jamaica's membership of the Hague System family. All right.
Thank you so much so far, Jess. I'm not sure if you'd like to turn on your video so we could see. We're not seeing your video currently.
Sorry, let me see. You can see my, I don't know here. I've turned on my video earlier, and
okay,
but you're hearing my, yes, that's fine. So you're hearing my voice.
Yes, you can proceed.
Okay.
You can proceed.
Thank you. You hear my voice. There is the slide. Okay.
Yes, we are. And you can proceed.
Thank you. Let me just start with a few world facts. This will put in perspective what is really at stake for Jamaica in joining the international community of the Hague System. Industrial designs is a major source of global economic activity. In 2019, there were nearly 1.4 million designs in applications worldwide. Designs are intellectual property assets whose optimal use results in income generation for businesses, many of which are SMEs. And this stimulates fair competition and growth of economies. Applications for designs protection continues to increase. As you see in the graph, in the 15 years since 2005, the number of global designs have doubled from some 700,000 to nearly 1.4 million in 2019. This spectacular global growth has been led by Asia, which saw its global share increase from 60% in 2009 to 70% 10 years later. For the Latin America and the Caribbean region, which is Jamaica's region, we saw a slight decrease in the market share from 1.7% in 2009 to 1.1% in 2019. What this means is that there are enormous opportunities waiting to be tapped by the region and Jamaica in particular. China and South Korea are leading the growth in Asia, followed mostly by European countries. In terms of application design counts in relation to the country's gross domestic product, there is only one country in the LAC region, which is in the top 20 countries. This is Brazil, which is at number 17 and is ahead of the US. Thus, the message for Jamaica and other Latin American and Caribbean countries is that there is no other way but up for you in developing design protection in your country and in the region to support local businesses and foreign investors wanting to establish their business in your jurisdictions. Let's look at some key facts and figures about Jamaica from studies and data published by Wipo covering global data. You will see before you the Global Innovation Index 2020 rankings. Every year for the past 13 years, the GII, published by Wipo and its partners, ranks the innovation performance of more than 130 economies around the world using many indicators. In 2020, overall, Jamaica ranked 72nd. Sorry, it ranked 72nd. You can see that in the red encircled row. It ranked 72nd among all the economies. In terms of income, Jamaica belongs to the upper middle income group. So you see there the abbreviation that represents upper middle income group. And in that group, Jamaica ranks 21st in innovation. The next column, which is represented by LCN in the row for Jamaica, that's the Latin and Caribbean region. In that region, Jamaica ranks number 7 in terms of innovation, with Chile leading in the region, followed by Mexico and Costa Rica. The other LAC countries, which are in the same income group as Jamaica, only Brazil, Colombia, and Uruguay are ahead of Jamaica, thus placing Jamaica as number 7 in the Global Innovation Index for the Latin American region. Here is the innovation map of the LAC region. Those in blue belong to the top 60 in the GII rankings, and those in green, which includes Jamaica, belong to the top 80. So you can easily place there. You have the blue ones, you have Mexico, you have Chile, the narrow one, and Costa Rica, the small one in the middle map. They are in the top 60. And then you have the green ones, Brazil being the biggest one, and you have Jamaica, which I have encircled in red, belonging to the top 80. The good news is that Jamaica has jumped up by 9 points from 2019 when it ranked 81 up to 72 in 2020. Another good news is that among the countries in the upper middle income group, Jamaica's innovation performance is above expectations for its level of development. Jamaica is in the blue group of innovation achievers that outperform its peers. Jamaica is one of 8 economies which performed at expectations in 2019. So at 2019, it was performing as expected. And in 2020, it changed performance group to become innovation achievers. The other 7 countries are Bulgaria, Serbia, Tunisia, Morocco, the United Republic of Tanzania, Madagascar, and the Niger. What does this mean in simple terms? It means that Jamaica, it is doing things right, that you have vast opportunities ahead of you to get better in terms of innovation. In case you're wondering what the orange color represents, those are the economies whose innovation performance is in line with their level of development, while the yellow color covers all other economies. Let me focus now on industrial designs, which you will agree is one indicator of Jamaican creativity. You will see in front of you statistics from 2010 to 2019 on the number of designs in design applications relating to Jamaica. The Department of Statistics and Data Analytics of WIPO regularly collates and receives industrial design statistics from all over the world. There are at least 150 participating national IP offices that provide data. In this chart, please take note of the three definitions where resident, you have the second column representing resident. These are the domestic filings. What does that mean? These are the filings of Jamaicans in Jamaica before JIPO. The second column, which are non-resident, these are the filings coming in from outside Jamaica and being filed before JIPO, which means these are the foreign filings in JIPO. And the last column representing abroad filings, these are the filings from Jamaica, Jamaican businesses, Jamaican SMEs, to other countries in the world. Now, in here, let me see. If you look at the ranking of Jamaica in terms of the global filings, design filings of Jamaicans in Jamaica, that means resident design filings, you rank 53rd in the world. In terms of design applications made abroad, these are essentially Jamaican businesses which are going into export markets. You rank 133rd. Putting the two together, Jamaican design filings, you rank 79th overall in the world. In respect of filings in Jamaica coming from foreigners, what we saw before as the non-resident filings, Jamaica ranked at 107th in non-resident filings. Membership of the Hague System is intended to facilitate the two lines in blue. It intends to help Jamaican businesses and SMEs to file abroad, to seek protection of their designs in international markets, and it facilitates foreign businesses who seek protection of their designs in Jamaica, because under the Hague System, they will be able to designate Jamaica in an international application. So the two rankings in blue, 133rd and 107th, I would love to do a webinar again, let's say 5 years after Jamaica accedes to the Hague System. I will keep this particular slide and we can compare that these two rankings will definitely go up, especially your abroad filings, your non-resident filings, with promotion of the Hague System in Jamaica. Now, this means the rankings that you had seen earlier, let me just do that, 53rd, 133rd, 79th, 107th, those are the rankings. This means that there is relatively minimal design protection taking place in Jamaica, either by Jamaican businesses in Jamaica and abroad, or by foreign businesses which are present in Jamaica. And this is not very good. Why would a designer or business not want to protect their designs? They need to protect their designs because designs are valuable business assets. As mentioned by Adrian, they are the ornamental aspect of a product and are therefore the first thing that people see. Designs distinguish one product from those of their competitors. When you protect your designs, you obtain exclusive rights over the designs which are covered by your registration, in this case, under the Hague System, by your international registration. You enjoy return on investment because you may license others to use your designs for a fee, which would be a source of revenue for your business. Protection encourages fair competition and innovation. It discourages counterfeiting as your title over your designs allows you to enforce your rights before the relevant authorities or a court of law. Protecting your designs therefore strengthens the commercial value of your business, creating a value chain which in turn stimulates business growth. Again, the rankings that you saw earlier is really on account of the lack of ease with which Jamaicans can register their designs abroad and the lack of ease for foreigners in seeking and obtaining protection of their designs in Jamaica. Currently, this is what Jamaican designers, IP agents, and businesses have to go through if they want to seek protection of their designs in international markets. They have to go to each and every IP office abroad to file multiple applications. And yet the Hague System international route is open to Jamaican businesses or foreign businesses wishing to invest in Jamaica. Our mission in Hague is to help businesses in their road to international markets by providing them the simplest solution. In fact, the Hague System is the unique and exclusive solution to obtain designs protection internationally. Let me show a few Hague System highlights. Let's talk of the Hague System. It's the international procedural mechanism which was established back in 1925. It is therefore nearly a century old, and it was put in place by the international community to simplify the process of obtaining designs protection in multiple jurisdictions. In other words, a system that is nearly 100 years old can only be a tried and tested mechanism. Jamaicans can therefore put faith in such a system and start to benefit from its many advantages. Up to now, it is mostly advanced economies like Europe and North America which have been actively reaping the fruit of membership in the Hague family. And so we are encouraging developing countries, all of the WIPO member states, to accede to the Hague System because benefits are there to be enjoyed by all of the members of the Hague family. This is the blue map of the Hague System showing its country coverage. All the blue spaces are Hague members. So you will see that the Hague covers all of North America, all of Europe, many countries in the Russian-speaking region, 4 countries in the ASEAN group of countries. This is the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, are members. And we are in discussions with them. They are in the pipeline for accession. As for the Latin American region, Mexico is a recent member, and we are currently, I am in fact the lead person. I am currently in talks with Brazil on their preparations for accession, which they want to happen no later than the end of 2021. Brazil would like to join the Hague System and deposit their accession instruments by October of this year. The Hague System also covers most of West Africa. You see the blue map, the blue areas in the African region. And last week, last Monday specifically, Belarus, which is a country in the Russian-speaking region, deposited its instrument of accession, which will enter into force on July 19. On July 19, there will be 75 Hague contracting parties, and the country of coverage will therefore increase to 92. Take note of the blue map because I'm going to show you next the green map of Hague, of the origins of Hague international applications. So that is the blue map, and here is the green map. You may notice that the green map is much broader than the blue map. For example, applications through the Hague System are already coming from China, Australia, and India, even if these countries are not yet Hague members. Businesses in these countries have a connection to a Hague member, which explains why they are able to use the Hague System in advance of the membership of their countries of origin. Which brings us to the question of who can use the Hague System. What you in Jamaica will need to simply remember are 4 conditions of eligibility. If you are a national of a Hague member country, you may use the Hague System. If you have your domicile, or if you are a resident or have a business establishment in the territory of a Hague member, likewise, you may use the Hague System. These are the 4 connections to a Hague member that give you entitlement to file a Hague international application. For example, if you are a Jamaican business and you have an office in Mexico, you can already make use of the Hague System to file applications for protecting your designs in any of the Hague member countries. If you have, if you are a designer and you have a second residence in the US, in Canada, in Mexico, you can already use the Hague System to seek protection of your designs in any of the Hague System contracting parties. Remember the Hague International route? It is easy, efficient, and economical. These are the key benefits of the Hague System, which Jamaica can fully enjoy once it becomes a member of the Hague family, because then Jamaica can already be one of the contracting parties that anyone in the group in the Hague family can designate once Jamaica joins the system. Right now, as I mentioned, Jamaican can designate any Hague member, but others coming from abroad cannot as yet designate Jamaica until it becomes a member. The first key benefit is the ease of use. Here, this is eHague, which is the filing and renewal interface for filing your international application and for renewing your international registration. The eHague filing system is digital and intuitive. You can use it anywhere, anytime. All you need is a computer and internet. And later on, this filing interface will be available on your mobile gadgets. Communications with Wipo concerning your international applications is exclusively electronic. And once you obtain your international registration, renewal is also easily done online. Through eHague, management of your international registrations in the near future will be offered on a full self-service mode, further streamlining and giving you real-time and secure digital access to your international designs portfolio. This is what Hague customers say about Hague? Attorneys do not need to consider time differences because they can file Hague applications anytime. On eHague, the required input items are very easy to understand. That's because eHague is intuitive. eHague is very easy to use. There was an application that the client had to file in 24 hours or so, and they did not have time to see the tutorial because there is an eHague tutorial, but they dealt with it thanks to the user friendliness of eHague. The second benefit is efficiency of the Hague system. With the Hague International route, you only need to file one international application, and you could cover as many as 100 designs in the same Locarno class. You only need to deal with one set of formalities, i.e., the formalities established under the Hague Agreement. You only need to deal with one office. You only need to think of one language. You have a choice of either English, French, or Spanish. These are the three official languages of the Hague system. You only need to concern yourself with one set of fees and one currency. And you can designate as many as the 75 contracting parties of the Hague system, which cover over 90 countries. Why is there a difference, 75 and 90? That is because there are two international governmental organizations which are members, which are contracting parties of the Hague system. There is the European Union. They have 27 country member states. And WAPI, which has 27 member states, if I'm not mistaken. So if you include all of that, and mind you, some of the member states of these two IGOs are also individual members. And you will see that later on in one example that I will be providing you. In contrast with the Hague International route, if an applicant follows the individual routes, they will have to go to each and every office where they want to seek protection. That means that there are multiple formal requirements that they need to contend with. There are multiple filing offices that they have to deal with. They have to contend with multiple languages, multiple currencies, and then they have to manage multiple registrations afterwards. In addition to the ease with one international filing application, there is also the centralized management of the international registration, which is available for those using the Hague system. Here is what our customers say. Multiple designs can be combined into one application. Different products with the same classification can be combined into one application. Getting protection from examining countries through the Hague system is ideal. There is no limit on the number of drawings when designating Europe. In the Hague route, it is a big benefit. There is no drawing restriction. You can put in as many images, as many reproductions as you want in your international application. And the third E represents the Hague system's cost efficiency. It is highly economical. Let's assume that a Jamaican SME would like to penetrate the European market to introduce its distinctive and unique clothing and footwear designs. This means that the SME will seek protection for their designs in the European Union, the UK, which is necessary after Brexit, and they can designate the UK because it is an individual member of the Hague system. There are two other lucrative markets in the European area which are not members of the EU. These are Switzerland and Norway, and they are members of the Hague system, and of course Turkey, which is a big economy. If the SME will file multiple applications in the 5 offices, EU IPO, UK IPO, the Swiss IPI, the Norwegian IPO, the Turk patent, the indicative total of the fixed cost in terms of filing fees alone will come up to 4,500 Swiss francs, which is more or less 5,000 US dollars. So 5,000 US dollars. If they undertake their filing in the Hague system, And I forgot to mention, let's assume that you have 5 designs with 7 reproductions each. So 7 times 5, so 5 reproductions, 35 reproductions for 5 designs. If they go and use the Hague system, and you can do so online to calculate the Hague fees that you will pay if you file, 5 designs for 7 reproductions and designations of the EU, the UK, Switzerland, Norway, and Turkey, you will be paying 1,700 Swiss francs, which is approximately 2,000 US dollars. So the comparison, 4,500 individual route, 1,700 Hague international route, that gives you a savings of 60%, at least 60% if you use the Hague system. Here is what our customers say. All attorneys have to do is just prepare by themselves 1 day before due dates, which is an economy of time. The cost estimate for the Hague route was considerably cheaper than the direct route. And the annual maintenance fee for an European Union application does not change through the Hague route. Whereas if you go directly to the EU IPO, every year there is a premium. Every year it increases. And hence the Hague route is very much attractive cost-wise. I will close my presentation. And in case you have any questions, contact Hague, our online communication channel for customers. For anyone interested to know anything about the Hague system, is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You have the QR code. You have also the URL there. We would be very happy to hear from you concerning any questions, inquiries on the Hague system. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jess. That was a very detailed presentation. And thank you for reminding us of the importance of registering or design and the benefits of using the Hague system. I'm sure that the participants benefited greatly from your presentations. I'm also asking participants, if it is that you have any questions for Jess, you could just put it in the chat and we'll address them. So again, Jess, thank you so much. Very detailed. And thanks for also reminding us and showing us how Jamaica is making progress. And I like, yes, and I like the phrase that you said, that Jamaica's innovations supersedes expectation. I like that. So as micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, I hope that we continue to do that and to be better in the next 5 years when we invite Jess again to make a presentation.
I'd be happy to. Thank you.
Okay, great. And so we're moving on nicely in our program. And coming to us at this time, we have Ms. Kayleen King. She's a Belizean and a qualified attorney at law. In October 2016, Ms. King joined the Attorney General's Ministry as a Crown Counsel in the International Legal Affairs section. She later joined the Belize Intellectual Property Office, Belipo, in May 2019, and is the Crown Counsel assigned to Belipo. Ms. King's duties include the review and examination of industrial designs application made locally and under the Hague system. Good morning, Ms. King. Thank you so much, and over to you.
Good morning, Chantal. Good morning, participants. I am very grateful to be here to share our experience under the Hague system. And so I will begin by sharing my presentation. Give me 1 second. Are you seeing my presentation?
Yes, I'm seeing your presentation. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So as I mentioned before, I will be sharing our Belize's experience, the impact of the Hague system in Belize. So as it relates to our legal framework, we have our domestic legislation, which is the Industrial Designs Act. And we are also parties to the 2 Industrial Design Treaties, the Hague Act and the Hague Act 1960 and the Geneva Act 1999. Now, as it relates to the Hague System, of which I am asked to speak on, as we've heard earlier, the Hague System is a system for international registration of industrial designs. So it is based on the Hague Agreement, as mentioned by Jess before, the Hague Agreement concerning international registration of industrial designs. And that comprises of the two treaties that I mentioned before, the Geneva Act and the Hague Act. The Hague System is administered by the International Bureau of Wipo. And in terms of the purpose of the Hague System, as we see it, it allows applicants to obtain protection for industrial design in several contracting parties by means of one single international application filed with the International Bureau of the World Intellectual Property Organization. So rather than having to file a series of applications with different national offices for protection in different countries, with just one application, you are able to obtain protection in several countries. Just showed two different images a while ago, one with several routes leading to one destination, and then another picture with one road leading to the same destination. So what the Hague System does is to provide you that one route rather than having to go to several countries making the same application. You have one route, one application, and you would be able to get protection in several different countries. Now, in terms of how the Hague System works from a Belize perspective. So first, the application is filed, and it can be filed either through the eHague interface or by paper application form, and the fee is paid. Ms. Jess went through the whole system of the eHague and the benefits of the eHague. The application will be filed by a natural person or a legal entity who is qualified under the agreement. So it will be filed at the International Bureau. There is no requirement that the applicant makes a national application or register nationally before that applicant applies or files the international application. The applicant can apply direct to the International Bureau. Even if the applicant is a Belizean, there is no requirement for them to file anything at our national office. So they go direct to the International Bureau. Secondly, the application file can include several different designs. So as Ms. just mentioned, it can include up to 100 designs. However, all these designs must belong to the same class under the Locarno classification. That's the classification that we use. The application can be filed in English, French, or in Spanish. So one benefit of this system, as you will see here, is that when you're making the application to the International Bureau, you use one language. As opposed to if you had to make application to several different countries, you would have to make the application in the language that they accept. So one of the advantages of this system is that we use one language to make the application in. The second procedure here is that the International Bureau does a formal examination. So they will check that the application complies with the prescribed formal requirements. It is important to note, though, that the International Bureau does not examine the novelty of the design. They do not examine whether the design is new. So they only check the formalities. So they will not reject an application on any substantive ground like novelty or contrary to public order or morality. It is only based on formality. And then, so after the International Bureau does a formal examination, then the application will be published. So once the application satisfies the formal requirements, the application is recorded in the International Register and then published on the International Designs Bulletin on Wipo's website. Now, every Friday, there is a new publication which contains all the relevant information concerning the international registration, including a reproduction of that industrial design. So you can see exactly what the designs are. And this is an example, this is a snapshot of what the industrial design, what the industrial design bulletin looks like. So our office does not examine novelty. We will check that the design satisfies the definition of an industrial design under the Act and that it is not contrary to public order or morality. So as it relates to the step after publication, the application or the design is then examined by our intellectual property office. So we would go on this industrial design bulletin and we would insert here Belize, BZ, where it says designated, because there are different fields where you can search. But for the purpose of our office, we go to designated contracting parties and we insert Belize here. And when we put Belize here, then at the bottom, you will find all the applications that designate Belize as a country of which the applicant wants to register. So at the bottom, we will click on the application and we will do our examination based on this. At the top here, it has the publication date. So the last publication was on the 23rd, which was last week, Friday. So we go by publication date and we do the examination based on this industrial design bulletin. So after our office examines the application, there is BELIPO's, in terms of BELIPO's notification to the International Bureau, and this is if it is necessary. So if after examination by our office, the design does not meet the requirement of our Act, then we will notify the International Bureau of our refusal of protection. Our refusal will never be based on any formal requirement. As I said before, since we do not check formality, that is for the International Bureau. So by the time we examine the application, the formal requirements would have already been checked and approved by the International Bureau. So we just check that it is in compliance with our domestic legislation, being that it satisfies the definition of an industrial design and it is not contrary to public order or morality. So we have, after publication, we have 6 months to notify the International Bureau of our refusal, if it is that we're refusing the application. So we will then communicate refusal, we will communicate the refusal to the International Bureau, and then they will communicate that to the applicant. Now, if the applicant is unsatisfied with the decision that we make to refuse, then he can appeal to the Belize Supreme Court within 2 months after he received the notice of refusal from the International Bureau. So the International Bureau has nothing to do with the appeal procedures. If after examination by the office, the registrar decides that the design meets the requirement of the Act, then there is no requirement for us to communicate this to the International Bureau. I mean, we can, but there's no requirement. So after 6 months, if the International Bureau hears nothing from our office, then they proceed with the registration of the industrial design. So if we choose to communicate though, then we send a statement of grant of protection within that 6-month period. So after our examination and we make the necessary notification if necessary, then the application proceeds to registration. Now, the international registration has the same effect as if it was filed nationally under our Industrial Designs Act. So international registrations are valid for 5 years from the filing date of the application for registration, but it may be renewed for 2 further consecutive periods of 5 years. So after the mark is registered, changes can always be made. These changes must be communicated to the directly to the International Bureau. So if there are any changes to the registration of the design, these changes must be sent to the International Bureau for them to record in the International Register. In terms of, so that's basically the procedure from start to finish. In terms of declarations made by Belize. So the Hague System allows contracting parties to make certain declarations as it relates to operations of the international registration system. And this allows for certain features of national law to be taken into account when the state is being designated in an international application. Now, Belize made 3 declarations. The first is the prohibition of filing through the office or indirect filing. In general, an international application may be filed at the option of the applicant, either directly with International Bureau or through the office of the applicant's contracting party. However, under the 1999 Act, the contracting parties may by declaration notify the Director General of Wipo that international applications may not be filed through its office. And Belize submitted this declaration, and so applications must be filed directly with the International Bureau and not with our office here in Belize. The second declaration that Belize made is the deferred publication for a period not exceeding 12 months. Under the 1999 Act, the general principle is that each contracting party is assumed to permit the prescribed period of deferment of 30 months from the filing date, or where priority is claimed from the priority date of the application in question. Belize Industrial Designs Regulation provides for deferment of publication for a period not exceeding 12 months, and not 30, but 12 months after registration. So we submitted a declaration in this regard where there will be there can be deferred publication for a period not exceeding 12 months. And this would be indicated in the initial application if you want publication to be deferred for this period. The third declaration that we made is the maximum duration of 15-year protection. Now, this is a mandatory declaration that all states were required to submit. And so we submitted the declaration indicating that the maximum duration of protection would be 15 years. In terms of the benefits that we find of the Hague system, we find that it provides a simplified way of obtaining design registration in multiple jurisdictions, as I mentioned before. So it is a single international application. One application is made. It is made in one language. It is accompanied by the payment of one single set of fees, and it is in one currency and with one office. And so we find that that is a very simplified method. It is very easy rather than having to go to different jurisdictions to make the same application. So even when it comes to recording changes after registration, rather than having to apply to register the change in all jurisdictions where the industrial design is registered, With this system, there is only one recorder, which will take effect in all the jurisdiction where it was registered. So that is one benefit to the system that we found. And also it brings additional revenue to our country. And you will see in a diagram that I will show later on that when you compare our applications under our Domestic Industrial Designs Act compared to under the Hague system, we get very little local, well, not local, but registration under the Industrial Design Act as compared to the Hague system. So it brings additional revenue to our country. It relieves the IP office of formal examination, data entry, publication, issuance of registration certificate, processing of renewals, and so on. So in a nutshell, all that we do here when it comes to application under the Hague system is to review it after it has been published to ensure that it complies with our domestic legislation. There is no requirement for us to do any formal examination as that is done by the International Bureau. When it comes to data entry, yes, it is advisable to have our own database with the designs that we examine. But as I say, it is not a must. It should be done, but it is not a must. And we do no publication on this side. So the publication is done by the International Bureau on the Industrial Design Bulletin. We issue no certificate. That is done by the Industrial Bureau. And when it comes to processing renewals of those registration, that is also done by the International Bureau. Another benefit that we find is that it allows local creators to easier access to foreign market. So our nationals, in terms of registering their design at other jurisdiction, rather than having to go to each jurisdiction and send in an application, our national goes straight to the International Bureau and make one application, and it allows them to designate other countries to register their design in other states. Now, as it relates to the challenges of the system, the major challenge that we see, and it is not so much of a challenge, but it is monitoring the Industrial Design Bulletin. So I believe there is an option for you to request that you get the publication direct to your country. But what we do here is that we have to, when the publication goes up on Friday, the following week, we would have to go on the bulletin to check if there is any application or any changes that are made to registered application on that bulletin. So it is just a matter of assigning somebody to do that on a weekly basis. And that is the only challenge that we are seeing at the moment. Here is just a way how we track application and fees that are received as a result of applications and changes after registration. So we assign a account, a Wipo account in the Wipo IP portal, and where it says distribution report offices, we can track by month the fees that are collected on our behalf. And then a letter, if you notice here, it says a letter February 21. We also receive a letter which states the amount of monies that are deposited into our account that are collected for registry, for new application and different changes made to those applications, including renewals. This diagram just shows statistics as it relates to application under the Hague system from the year 2011 to 2019 as it relates to applications made and applications that were eventually registered and renewals per year. So if you notice the last year, the last year that we have records of 2019, we received 103 applications. 87 of those 103 were registered, and we also received 243 renewals. And when you compare that to national applications, these are applications made under our industrial designs legislation, mainly local applications. In 2019, we only had 5 applications and we had 5 registration. Now going back to 2019 under the Hague system, we had, as opposed to 5, we have 103. So this shows the benefit of this system. It increases vastly the amount of application that we receive because applicants can easily designate our country as a country that they would want their industrial design to be protected in by just that one application. So this system really improved on the amount of application that we receive. And that brings me to the end of our presentation. That picture there is just an image of our open day that we had yesterday in celebration of World Intellectual Property Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. King, for taking us through the review and examination process of industrial design and also sharing Belize's experience by using the Hague system. So thank you. Very detailed presentation, and I'm sure we'll have some questions for you. At this time, I do believe we can, we're waiting on one other participant. I'm not sure if she's online as yet. So let me just double check. Okay, so we'll just segue into our question and answer segment at this time. I know I saw a question earlier in the chat. I think it was addressed to Jess. Jess, are you still with us? Okay, I'm not sure I'm seeing Jess at this time. Okay, so do we have any, we're not open for questions. Do we have any other questions to address any of the participants? Okay, so I have a question. So Ms. King, can you share with us the experience so far using the Hague system? You're muted.
So as I mentioned before, it is a fairly it is a fairly straightforward process. We have not encountered any severe or any serious challenges thus far. On our part, all that we need to do is to monitor the bulletin to ensure that if it is that we are opposing or refusing an application, that we can identify it in the bulletin within that 6 months period and do our own in-office examination and then communicate if necessary or refusal to the International Bureau. But so far the experience has been a very good one. And I would encourage, well, I'm happy to hear that Jamaica is now taking on this Hague system, and I'm sure that it will be a very smooth process.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Very enlightening. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right. Do we have any other questions? I see there are some questions that were posed earlier, but they were answered as it relates to Jamaica. So I saw Dr. Goff and Ms. Thompson answering those questions. So any other questions? All right. So I'm also looking to see if Jess is still with us. I do understand that we may have lost her. Okay, so one question that was posed earlier, let me just go through the chat. Please give me a moment, please. Re-originality is a design originality, if a designer has variation on a basic theme, does this require separate registration for each variant? So I think Ms. Thompson can answer that question. So that was one question posed earlier, so I'm not sure if everyone is following the chat. So in that regard, I'm going to ask Ms. Thompson to just speak on that for us. Ms. Thompson, I think you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Go ahead. Thanks.
Okay, great. So you wouldn't require a separate registration for each variant. However, for the variants that you are going to apply for protection for, you need to show how they're novel. So you don't have to apply for all the variants, but basically the most important ones, it would be beneficial to register for those, and you have to show how exactly they're novel. So that's the standard.
Okay, thank you for that. I think there's another question for you, Ms. Thompson. If I register by year end, when the old Design Act is enforced, will I have protection in the new Hague system in the different countries under this system?
So no, so if you register under the old act, then you're only afforded the protection that the old act can offer. So it would be a term of protection for 15 years and you'd be protected in Jamaica under the old act. So if what you're interested in is pursuing a Hague application, then you need to essentially wait for the new law to come in force and then use that system then once we accede.
Okay, thanks so much for answering that, Ms. Thompson. And I guess this is the point where we can urge them to really register because of the fees that currently exist. Let's see if there are any more questions.
The fees will go up. So if you're just interested in local protection and you're not necessarily interested in pursuing the Hague application, then now is the time to get your applications in.
Okay, thank you so much for answering that, Ms. Thompson. I'm going to ask you now to give us any final comments or any final words that you would like to say to any micro, small, or medium-sized enterprise online. I think I'll start with Ms. King and then I'll come back to you, Ms. Thompson.
I would just like to encourage small and medium-sized enterprise to embrace the system. I mean, if you want to take your business internationally, the Hague system is a way to go in terms of getting your design registered in more than one country other than in Jamaica. So I would just encourage you to embrace the system, make your application when that time comes, and you will surely see the benefit of it.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Thompson. I think there's also another question. So, Ms. Thompson, it says, I find it interesting that the new law will require worldwide novelty, however, protection is territorial. So I'm not sure if you could speak on that, and then you could give your final words as it relates to registration and encouraging MSMEs to register. So over to you.
Okay, thanks for the question. So basically, even though protection is territorial, the reason for using a worldwide novelty standard is what it does. It prevents people from essentially shopping around and trolling other people's protected designs and essentially, passing off somebody else's design as your own just because the design didn't originate in a particular country. So in theory, under the current system, you could, I don't know, find a design from Belize, for example, and because it's not registered in Jamaica, you could file an application here and pass it off as your own. And so under the new law, it kind of stops that practice because the standard is worldwide novelty. And so then it basically encourages the protection of authentic original designs as opposed to people essentially trolling other people's work.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Thompson. And just your final words.
So my final words would just be that, you know, so whether or not you want to wait on the new law or utilize the current system that exists for a small business, it's very important to protect your intellectual property. So be it designs, trademarks, your branding, basically it's important to look at the registration process and all of the fees associated with it as an investment that you're making in your business, because it's a lot to register and protect your work. Then on the back end, if somebody essentially infringes your work, to then try to pursue some kind of enforcement action. So to hire attorneys, to bring a claim in court, all of that is going to be so much more expensive on the back end. And so even though it might seem like something that, you know, is a luxury or is not really essential at the beginning, that's really where you want to make the investment and protect the work at the front end, because it's always cheaper and the payoff is always better than to try to claw back protection after somebody has copied or essentially stolen your work. And so it's worth pursuing protection as soon as you're able to.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for that. Your final words, Ms. Thompson. And just want to say special thanks to all our participants this morning, especially recognizing Ms. Adrian Thompson, Trademark Design and Geographical Indications Manager here at Wipo, Ms. Jess Honkulada from the Wipo. She got disconnected from the call, we recognize, so that's the reason why she wasn't able to give her final words. And Ms. K. King from Belipo, which is the Belize Intellectual Property Office. So thank you so much, presenters. It was an excellent presentation, and I'm sure that the participants benefited greatly and have garnered new information and will take the necessary steps to register their designs and also to utilize the Hague System when it comes into force in Jamaica. And just want to say thank you so much for your presentation. Want to take this opportunity to also remind our participants that our IP Week celebrations continue. So tomorrow we'll be having our patent webinar. And so we continue on the theme IP and MSMEs, taking your ideas to market. And so we urge participants to visit our website at www.jipo.gov.jm, where you can find all the information relating to our IP Week celebration. So we continue through to Sunday. So tomorrow we'll have the patent webinar. On Thursday, we'll be having an IP enforcement webinar, as well as virtual shopping with selected MSMEs. And on Friday, we'll be having an IP evaluation on IP-based financing for MSMEs webinar. So we continue the fun at Wipo as we continue to promote intellectual property to everyone. And we've been having a wonderful IP week, so we urge you to continue to join the conversation as we continue to discuss different intellectual property rights. So on behalf of our executive director here at Wipo, and the IP Planning Committee and members of staff, we say thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we hope to see you again in our next webinar. For more information about Wipo, visit us at www.jipo.gov.jm, or you can send us an email at info@jipo.gov.jm. We're gonna ask you to stay on a little bit just to complete our poll. Our poll is now in progress, so we ask you kindly to just complete the poll before you leave. Again, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. for our patents webinar.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I am good, and you?
I am doing okay.
Awesome.
I'm here to copyright a trademark for my patent.
You want to copyright a trademark for your patent?
Yes.
All right, tell me exactly what it is that you want to do.
I have a logo and I want to get it registered.
Okay, so that's a copyright, not patent. That's actually a trademark. So
Oh.
logos are trademark.
Oh, so you're telling me that all I need is just a trademark?
Yes, that's all you need.
You know, it's a little confusing. I would hope that you guys would have some form of workshop or webinar or something.
Yes,
Just to
it is.
inform us of what is happening.
It is, and I'm happy that you said. Morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I am good, and you?
I am doing okay.
Awesome.
I'm here to copyright a trademark for my patent.
You want to copyright a trademark for your patent?
Yes.
All right, tell me exactly what it is that you want to do.
I have a logo and I want to get it registered.
Okay, so that's a copyright, not patent. That's actually a trademark. So
Oh.
logos are trademark.
Oh, so you're telling me that all I need is just a trademark?
Yes, that's all you need.
You know, it's a little confusing. I would hope that you guys would have some form of workshop or webinar or something.
Yes,
Just
it
to
is.
inform us of what is happening.
It is, and I'm happy that you said that because we will be having our IP week this week, our annual IP week,
Okay.
starting the 23rd of April until the 2nd of May.
Mm-hmm.
We will be on all the social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, I believe Twitter as well.
Oh,
So you
okay.
can just go over there and just follow us and you can always see the live events that are going to be happening.
And what's the date again?
The 23rd of April until the 2nd of May.
Oh, thank you. I will surely be
You
there.
are most welcome. Please do go ahead and follow us, all right?
Oh, okay, I
All right,
will.
let me just see your documents, please. All right, you just have a seat over there and I'll get someone to assist you.
Okay.